Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here on a very, very, very rainy Saturday, sort of Saturday day. Um, it started raining last night, uh, probably, gosh, around 10 o'clock at night, and it's been steady all day long, and it gives signs of being steady through the rest of the night as well, and into tomorrow morning and the better part of tomorrow as well. By that time, then some of this Gordon stuff's going to have wandered up the Ohio Valley and, you know, sort of kept it going a little bit longer than it might have done anyway. God blesses everyone. Um, uh, fun part of yesterday, of course, occurred oh early in the evening. It was probably 6:30 or 7. Um, my friend Tony Ballman Skyped me from Seattle, and I thought he had actually gone back down to Tucson yesterday, but no, he's going down there today. He flew down. I guess his flight left at around 7:15 this morning from Seattle Airport, SeaTac. So he should be, he should have been there now for about 2 or 3 hours at least, assuming that things didn't get delayed, and since the whole western half of the United States looks like it's absolutely cloudless and clear. Sometimes they call that CAVU, ceiling invisibility unlimited. Uh, so it should have been a fairly easy journey for all involved. He's got a job interview down in Tucson on Monday, and I can't really just give any details about it. But we talked primarily about this upcoming interview, and I guess somebody had sent him a list of sample questions. Uh, or I guess a couple of his friends who had been through similar processes for similar employers uh, sent some sample questions that he might get confronted with. And of course, a lot of them are just this politically correct jargon nonsense, all about diversity and this and diversity that, and, race, class, and gender. Um, he's eminently qualified for this job, both by his education and his work experience. I mean, basically he's done this same job for other people, pretty much the entire time he's been out there since he went out there. And I want to say 1990. I want to say 1998, but I'm sure I'm probably wrong. I know he's been out there at least 20 some years. Um, I regret that at the time he was in Columbus, I never got to really know him better. Um, he hung around with a lot of people that I sort of hung around with, but not a lot. Uh, and he's been out to the house. Uh, I mean, 20 some years ago, he's been out to the house. He remembers being up here. We shot guns off my deck. And I'm ashamed to say I have no memory of it. I have no memory of it. And as far as I know, I have no photographs of that. I do have one photograph. The thing I do remember is we went shooting with a couple of mutual friends down at Deer Creek State Park, about 2 weeks before he moved out to Seattle. And that's the only actual memory I have of him. And I have a photograph of me sitting on the front porch afterwards, but I don't have a picture of him then. Now he's been here to the house. I was April 2016, when he and a friend of his from out in New Mexico came to visit, mutual friends in Yellow Springs, Ohio. uh, but that's it. Anyway, so we had a good long conversation. I've been fortunate. I've never had to really truly job interview. I went through the apply, process for residencies. Um, um, the guys that trained me just basically hired me right out of the program to be on faculty briefly at Ohio State. Uh, when I went to work for this anesthesia group up in Fort Wayne, I did go interview with them, but it was more like a meet and greet rather than, and they certainly didn't ask me about how I'd contribute to the diversity of the group. You know, how this would help obliterate, white patriarchal oppression. No, it was just, the thoracic surgeons that have worked with you say that you're really good, and that's good enough for us. So welcome aboard. I guess they didn't want to, basically they just wanted to look on me to be sure they weren't getting some sort of weirdo. Well, little did they know. Fooled you. That was when I was still living in the closet. So, living a lie came easy to me since I had done it all my life. So, yeah, so we talked about that. And then actually, one of the things we then ended up talking about is I've been fussing about wanting to, toting my computer around Eastern Europe and Central Europe when I go on this trip here in about 2 weeks. Because that and that's about 5 pounds. That's over 5 pounds. I really don't need to be horsing with an extra 5 pounds. The only thing I really need it for is to manage the prayer list, at church, because I don't want to saddle somebody with that. And Tony suggested, he says, well, why don't you just set up a website for the prayer list? Fuck yeah, that's a great idea. And then you can either get somebody to be sort of like a co-administrator with you when you leave, give them the log-on information. And then they can keep it up to date while I'm gone. Hell, it's so, when you hear it, it's so obvious, it's almost like a no-brainer. So I duly, girded my loins and gritted my teeth and went in to do battle with WordPress, which I find absolutely incomprehensible. I have my personal website, joeskersey.com, with WordPress, but it's like, again, it's, they use language differently than I use language, which means that I'm trying to think like I think, and they're trying to think like they think, so we don't understand each other. Well, it's late in the afternoon. I'm belching. That's usually a good sign. That means things are probably going to settle down. The joints will stop hurting. Lord knows it's taken enough aspirin and stuff to do it. I must have a stomach made of leather. So, by golly, it's up and running. Partners in Prayer List, stpeters.com is up and running. And So I think I'll drop that little bombshell on the interim rector and our senior warden here sometime in the next couple of weeks. Trying to think who I can Tom Sawyer into running this while I'm gone. I mean, the perfect person would be the senior warden. The rector's wife handled it for me 2 years ago when I first went over in 2016, and she did a nice job. She did a nice, but I don't like to get tied up with that sort of reciprocal obligation stuff. Although that wasn't even an issue here. It's just, well, just, well, I mean, I think, those of you who watch me who have come from a similar sort of background in the sense of, just don't, basically don't ask for help. Nobody, you're not supposed to ask for help, which is really bullshit in a lot of areas of life. Not all, but in a lot of areas of life. Know exactly how I'm responding here on that. Yes. Yes, chunks. Thanks, eyes. Chunks. All right. So wish Tony luck on this interview. I don't think he'll need luck. In fact, the reason he went down early, a couple days early, is he wants to do some preparation, sort of like on-site, on-ground preparation. And of course, I guess he and Jim have been, he apart for 2 weeks. So see Jim again, of course, because Jim's working down there. He's teaching, so he has to stay down there. I guess Tony said he's got two more weeks at the job he's currently doing, and plus there's still stuff going on around his house in terms of construction, which isn't necessarily related to his house. It's just like about this close to his house, and then he's got to get some final cleaners in before the place gets rented here. He's looking toward a November rental date, so I guess the next time he goes back down, he's going to drive his car down because he's got some things he doesn't want to trust to movers. I don't think they need any final movers, but there are a few things there that, like, there's a statue in the back garden that he likes, and he wants to be sure that gets down intact. And there are a couple other things, but it's those of you who've moved know what that's all about. And there's always something that's sort of lying there, and you think, oh, gee, I have to take that out, or I think he said he's having the place repainted too, or parts of it repainted. My son knows more about that now than I've ever cared to after what he's been through with his mother's condo, which should be just about winding up and be ready to be on the market here shortly. So, okay, from the midst of the day, well, it hasn't been well, the stuff last night was delugial. Today it's just been one of these steady rains, which, a nice steady rain even now is probably welcome, as long as it doesn't flood people out. And there's certain areas here in Ohio, low-lying areas in Ohio, that when you get sustained rain like this, you get local flooding. Alum Creek doesn't. It gets high. I'm sure the water will be up. I mean, actually, interestingly, the water hasn't come into the basement yet. Just a little bit, but not. It's not like it's a quarter inch deep. Half inch deep. Okay, I'll shut up and I'll say bye bye, YouTubers. Now I'm going to eschew going to church tomorrow because I don't want to have to listen to all of the bump about get out of the pew and do. Um, but I've belabored that point many times before. So anyway, I'm not going. I'm reading the Sunday after tomorrow. So I'll obviously go to church then. I'll say bye bye, YouTubers.